Last session, what we discussed in the last session, we discussed about flow controls, right? So tell me, any program you can take it. The program execution may be as like a sequential. The next one is like as like a condition based on the condition. The next one is like looping, right? These are the these are the three types. So the three ways you can say our code is going to execute or not. Either my code is going to execute like line by line, either my code executed based on the condition, my code is going to execute iterate, okay, first and second and third time like that. It's like a looping. Okay. So yesterday what we discussed, yesterday we discussed some programs, right? Okay. So in the condition execution, conditional execution, tell me how we can handle conditional execution, how we can handle. Just you can write, okay, if condition. Another one is like if else also. If else. The next one is like okay, nested if else. L if like this any number you can write it, finally you can write like else. Only one condition you can go with this. Okay, if the condition is like true, I want to perform some operation. If it's like false, I want to perform one operation, then the time you can go with this. The next one is like there has multiple conditions. If you want to check multiple conditions, if you want to check, then the time you can go with elif. Okay, now tell me one example for nested elif. Tell me one simple scenario. In this case, nested if else is required like that. One simple example, tell me. Anyone? Nested if else. Hmm? Multiple conditions. One example you can tell. Multiple conditions. One example you can tell. Hmm? Any one example. In this case, this particular L if is like suitable one. Like that you can tell. Don't know.
One if condition is to check whether it is a number or not.
Mhm.
If it is a number, check whether it is a odd number or even number inside the main loop.
Then it is like if it is like a number, okay. If it is like a number, if yes, inside that one you are going to write one more condition. It's like even or odd. Okay, this is not that kind of right. First, if it is not satisfied, then it go to the else if. If it is not satisfied, then it is go to else if like that. You said like okay, if true, if it is like a number, okay, if number is like true, number is like true, then the type, okay, it is go inside the if, and one more condition you are going to write like what? This number is like even or odd, whatever it is. Okay, here, if only you use it multiple times, right? Not elif, not elif. Hmm. Okay, simple you can write. Okay, most of the times, okay, simple example they are going to take like if okay, I have that a, okay, this is my number, okay, day 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 like this. If my day equals to 1, okay, my day equals to 1, I want to perform some operation. Okay, l if okay, my day equals to 2, then the time I want to perform some operation. Okay, l if my day equals to my day, okay, not data, my day is equals to 1, okay, equals to 2. Okay, the next one is like equals to 3. Like this, multiple conditions you can write it. If any one of the conditions satisfied, that block is going to execute. If no, if satisfied, then the term finally you have the else block. That else block is going to execute. Okay, multiple conditions if you want to write. Okay, if my day equals to 1, if it is satisfied, then the term is not go to anywhere. Okay, if elif like that. That's all. Okay, the next one. While loop, tell me one example. While, one example, tell me. While loop. Hmm? While loop. In this case, okay, I want to go with the while loop. Like that, you can simple example tell.
If we want to print 1 to 100, then we can go for while loop.
Yeah, simple, right? 1 to 100 numbers or 1 to 10 numbers. If you want to go, then that time just you can go with the while or not. Okay, same C only. Now tell me, while, what do you want me to do? Directly you want me to write while, or is there any other syntax is there? Is there any other syntax is there?
We can take one variable and
First of
assign.
all, you have to initialize, right? Initialize, okay, one value with one variable. So my x equals to 1, like that you can take. My x less than or equals to 10, less than or equals to 10. Okay, then what do you want me to print? Print x. Okay, here my x value I want to increment it or not. X value I want to increment it or not. Yes or no? What's there in this? Simple, right? First initialization. The next one is like what? You have to write the condition. The next one is like the block. You have to write increment or decrement operator or not. If this increment or decrement is not there, then if the increment or decrement is not there, then what it is going to print? What is my output if I run it?
It goes to infinite loop,
It
printing
is like
x value 1,
infinite, right? Infinite loop. The x value is like what always?
1.
It's like one only. It's like one only. Yes or no? Okay. So it's like an infinite loop. So make sure, okay, this condition should fail at some point of time. So that you have to increment the x value. Okay, whenever the x reaches it like 10, that time, okay, simply, okay, x less than or equals to 10 satisfied. Whenever x equals to x plus 1, 10 plus 1, 11, then the condition is like failed. So that you can come out from the loop. Okay. So up to here, C1. Okay, C1. But there has one extra feature is there in Python, what you know. Once my condition is like failed, I want to perform some operation. Condition is like failed, okay, I want to perform some operation. Then what do you want me to? Condition is like, okay, satisfied, then don't do that. Whenever the condition failed, then I want to perform some operation. How we can? For loop also, you know, right? For val inside, okay, whatever it is, a list, set to tuple, string, whatever it is, okay, print that val, print that val, print that val. Now here the extra feature is what you know, whenever this particular 1, 2, 3, the iterations completed, then the time nothing is there to iterate. That time I want to perform some operation. I want to perform some operation. Once my condition is failed in the while loop, I want to perform some operation. How we can means very simple. If I execute this particular block of statements, these two statements, what's my output? Everyone knows the output is like what? 1, 2, and 3. So once it is like printed, okay, just I want to write one message or I want to perform some operation. Once my iteration is completed, I want to perform some operation. Then that time what you can do, okay, this is my for loop, right? Okay, now once the condition not satisfied, okay, here when the iteration is completed, just you can go with the else. In the else, whatever the statements you want, you can write. This is specific to Python. Once my condition execution is like failed, okay, that means this particular condition is like failed. Okay, here you can say condition is like failed. Here the iterations are completed. Okay, after that I want to perform some operation. Then the time you can write like a else block. You can write like a else block. Same here also. Once my x value reaches like a 10, okay, x equals to x plus 1, 11. 11 is less than or equals to 10. No, it's not satisfied. Okay, so that the condition is like failed. Now I want to perform some operation. Okay, just you can do some operation here. You can do some operation here. It's like something different syntax from compare with some other, okay, remaining programming languages. Yes or no? So once my condition is like satisfied, then the time this block is going to execute. Once my condition is like failed, okay, in the else block you can write like what? Failed condition statements you can write it. Failed condition statements. Up to here C syntax only. Okay, here also similar kind of syntax in JavaScript or Java, wherever you see. Okay, you can see this kind of syntax, but this else is there. Now that is specific to Python. Once my condition is like failed or condition iterations are completed, I want to perform some operation, then the time you can go with this. Understood? Now, can anyone tell me about, okay, this is also kind of, okay, the keyword called as a break. Break. Why we go for break? Why we go for break? It is used for terminate the loop. Terminate the loop. So, give me one example. I have 1 to 100 numbers are there. I have 1 to 100 numbers are there. Okay, whenever, okay, my 12th number is like up to 12th number is like printed, just I want to stop it. I want to stop it. Then how? How? I have 1 to 100 numbers. Whenever, okay, it reaches 12, then the time I want to stop that particular iteration. You can
We
use
can put
this
a condition.
break statement, right?
Break.
So how you can write while or for also. Okay. First, my value is equals to 1. While, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? How many numbers are there? 1 to 100 numbers. So here I have 1 to 100 numbers. So my val is less than is like 100. Then the time I want to do some operation here. But I decided like whenever it reaches like 12, if my val is equals to 12, okay, then that time I want to come out from the loop. Then that time you can go with the break. Okay, just I want to terminate from the loop. In the time you can use this particular keyword. Based on the condition, if you want to terminate something, then the time, based on the condition, if you want to terminate that particular iteration, then that time you can use like a break. Understood? So my question is, can you print 1 to 10 numbers? using for loop. How we can? One to 10 numbers using for loop. Tell me. I am in the Python environment. Go ahead. 1 to 10 numbers. Come on, how we can do it? By using for loop. So 1 to 10, right? Can I take like one list? Okay, 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5 comma 6 comma 7 comma 8 9 10. You can take like this. Now you can iterate it for where inside my list. Okay, print my val. Print my val. Okay, now 1 to 10 numbers printed or not. For example, 1 to 100 numbers, if you want to print, you want me to prepare the list like this. Is it the recommended way? 1 to 10 numbers I can manage. But greater than, greater than, greater than, I have 100 elements over there. I want to break in the middle. First of all, 100 elements should be required, right? 100 elements should be there or not. So, how we can represent those 100 elements? For that, we have one more data type is there. Range is the data type. Okay, type of range. Type of range. It is like a class type. It is like a class type. Now, instead of instead of taking this list, just you can take like a range. Okay, from where to where you want the range, you can tell 1 to 10 numbers I want. Now here, just you can write like a print val. Print val. It is working as expected or not. So here the range data type which is used for mention the range. Okay, the numbers only, it supports for numbers only. If you want to get a range, okay, the numbers within this particular range 100 to 1000, then the time just you can put like a range. Starting is like 100 and the ending is your wish. Great. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the next one. Can anyone tell me this? I have a list of elements. Okay, my data is this one, range 10 to 20. My range is 10 to 20. Just I want to print my output should be 10, okay, 11 and 12 and 14 and 15 and 16 17 18 19 and 20 or 19. Tell me how we can get this output. Now,
If it is
give this.
if it is 13, we can put continue kind of thing.
Simple, right? Yes. Okay. Whenever my value is like 13, don't print that value. Just you can continue your iteration or not. So, programmatical, how we can write it? For come on, val inside where data. Okay. Now, if my val is equals to 13, then what do you want me to do? Continue. Else, I want to print what? Val or not. That's it. Simple. Whenever my value is like 30, then the time just do continue. Just do continue. After that, whatever the value print is there, okay, that one is like executed or not. Yes or no? If you want to terminate the loop, then you can go with the break. If you want to terminate the function, if you want to terminate the function
Return.
execution,
Return.
return, return, right? Return, return. Okay. After okay, everyone, break and continue. Okay, the next one is like decorator functions, yield keyword. Okay, we'll discuss that one later. The next, I want to discuss something about exception handling. I want to discuss something about exception handling. Tell me, what is an exception? Terminology wise, what is an exception? Okay, the next one. What is normal termination? Okay, abnormal. Okay, normal termination, abnormal. The next one is like syntax error. Next, runtime error. Okay, now tell me one by one. Normal termination and abnormal termination, one program you can tell. Normal termination and abnormal termination. Come on, one program, it's terminated like normal, it's terminated like abnormal. How we can come to that? Very simple, right? Normal termination. Each and every statement in your program, starting to ending, each and every statement got executed. Okay, for example, okay, print start. Print start. Here, print end. In your program, each and every statement got executed, starting to ending. Then the time that program termination, I can say like a normal termination. That program termination, I can say like a normal termination. Got my point? Normal termination. So start, end, each and every statement got executed or not. So that this kind of programs, I can say like a terminated as like normal. What about abnormal? Abnormal termination. One. Abnormal termination. If you see this
There
program,
is
if you see this particular program, okay, after this line, okay, line number, okay, instead of 2, if I put something like this, tell me, if I execute these statements, what happens? If I execute these statements, what happens? If I execute these statements, what happens?
Variable name not found. Error.
Start 1 is okay. Name is not defined. Error, you can get it, right? Name is not defined. Error, you can get it or not. So, while executing these statements, starting to ending, my program execution is terminated in the middle or not? Yes or no? My 3 and end not printed. My program is like terminated in the middle. Okay, that kind of termination, what we can say? Abnormal termination or not. Starting to ending, each and every statement got executed, it's like a normal. In the middle, due to some reason, okay, if it is like terminated, the execution, then then the time, okay, that termination we can say like a abnormal termination. Okay. Now, can anyone tell me the answer to this particular question? What is the output? If I write like this, what is the output?
syntax error.
Yeah. It is not gives me any output. Why? Because if you not follow the rules and guidelines, if you not follow any programming language you can write, if you not follow the guidelines, then the time, okay, that program terminated, okay, that then the time what happened, okay, it is not start the execution, it throws you a syntax error, throws you syntax error. When you can get the syntax error means if that particular, okay, any programming language you can take it. Each and every programming language has their own syntactical rules and guidelines. If you not follow that particular rules and guidelines in your program, that time you can get like a syntax error. In Python, in the print, one argument you pass it, then the time you have to enclose it with single quote or double quote, but you not. That the reason what happened. Remaining all statements are like what? Remaining all statements are like, okay, no issues. But okay, this particular one only throws what? Syntax error or not. Whenever my syntax error in your program, my program execution is not start, actual execution. You got my point? If you not follow the syntactical rules, then the time you can get the syntax error. You can get the syntax error. So here syntactical invalid, that the reason it gives me, okay, syntax error. If this one, then the time, if it is like this, then the time, again it's not start execution. First of all, it is going to check for what? The program is like compiled as, okay, expected or not. If the program is like compiled as expected, then the time, come on. Then what happened? Okay, if there is, see here, if you said like this statement, if I execute this particular program, if I execute, then the time it gives me what? It gives me what? Syntax error or
Syntax
not?
errors.
Syntax error. Syntax error. Whenever you get like a syntax error, my execution is going to start or not start? Actual execution. Actual execution is not start. When my execution is going to start? Whenever my program compiled as expected without any errors. If my program like compiled, okay, then that time, okay, the next step is like what? It is going to run the program. Okay, if it is like any syntax error in your program, the entire program will not start the execution. First of all, you have to, okay, fix that syntax error or not. Okay, how we can fix it? Okay, you can check that particular error, okay, where exactly you missed something, then the time just you can, okay, fix that one. Syntax errors, there is no reason. Okay, if you ask the reason why it should be end with single quote or double quote, I don't have any reason. Okay, syntax errors means you have to follow the guidelines, that's it. Okay, what about runtime error? What about runtime error?
While executing the program gives an error.
Yeah, first it is going to check for the compilation, right? If the compilation is completed successfully, then the time it is going to start, okay, execution, actual execution. Okay, now in any statement, first statement, okay, compilation done, okay, there is no errors, nothing, all are like you followed the syntactical rules. If you come to this one, first start, okay, print one, print location. Okay, here my location is there or not there? My location is there or not there?
There.
One, LOC is not there. That means LOC is not defined. Okay, so my program terminated like normal or abnormal? It's like abnormal termination.
Abnormal.
Abnormal termination or not? Yes or no? So now while executing the program, while running the program, whenever you get the error, those errors, what we can say? Runtime errors or got my point? Now you can define an exception. What is an exception? You know, the exception is like a runtime error while executing the program. Okay, there is no compile time errors, nothing. While executing the program, okay, if you come here, where is that? Yeah, while executing the program, Okay, if you get any error and my program terminated like an abnormal, that type of errors, what we can say, runtime errors. The runtime errors, terminology wise, we can say like a exception. So exceptions is nothing but runtime errors. Exceptions nothing but what? Runtime errors. Okay. So whenever the exception raised, you want me to leave like this or you want me to fix? Okay, you want me to, what you want me to do? If exception raised, okay, due to that exception, okay, whenever the exception raised, tell me. What is the next? Go on. Whenever exception, right, the program terminated like normal or abnormal? Abnormal. Right? So you want me to leave like this? If you leave like this, then what happened? This statement and this statement will never execute in their entire life or not? Yes or no? Runtime error is nothing but exception only. If the exception raised, my program terminated like abnormal. Whenever my program terminated here itself, what is the use of these two lines of code? So these are like no errors, nothing. No errors, nothing. Okay, still these two statements are not executed or not. So whenever the runtime error came, whenever the exception raised, okay, don't leave that exception like that. Can you handle that exceptions? Okay, so the concept is like what? The exception handling or not. Whenever the exception raised, you have to handle that exception and you have to provide, okay, some graceful termination to your program. You have to provide a graceful termination to your program. Understood? Okay, terminology wise, okay. First tell me, what is normal termination? Simple. Starting to ending, each and every statement got executed. Okay, it's a kind of normal termination. What about abnormal? Due to some reason, while running your program, okay, it is like got whatever it is, okay, it is like terminate in the middle, okay, it is not execute end to end, starting to ending. That kind of termination, what we can say, abnormal termination or not. What is syntax error? Any programming language you can take it. Any programming language you can take it. Each and every program language has their own syntactical rules and guidelines, right? If you not follow those syntactical rules and guidelines, then the time you can get the syntax error. Whenever the syntax error raised, okay, then the time it's not start the execution. Actual execution will never start. When my execution is going to start, whenever there has no syntax errors. If the syntax error is not there, but in the execution, if you throw any error in the runtime, if you throw any error, that error you can say like a runtime errors. Syntactical we can say like a, okay, exceptions or not. Okay, that means terminology wise, not syntactical. Terminology wise, what we can say runtime errors is nothing but exceptions or not. Got the point? So you want me to leave the exception like this, or you want me to handle the exceptions? To provide some graceful terminations to your program. What do you want me to do? You have to handle that exceptions or not. So that the concept is like exception handling. Whenever the runtime error came, whenever the exception raised, okay, you should have to, don't leave like that. You should have to handle that exception. You have to handle that exception. Okay, if you handle that exception, you are able to provide what? Some graceful termination to your program or not. Got my point? Okay, so how to handle that? Go ahead. How to handle exceptions? Okay, we have try is there, expect is there. Finally, okay, there has different members are there to handle the exceptions. All these things you'll see in the next session. Okay. Well, thank you guys.